Yes. Last class, we had a talk about health planning in India. For planning, we have started from British India. Yeah, that's, British India. Then, after independence, there are a number of committees. So, after independence, based on the various committees reports, we had planning commission. The planning commission consists of every 5 years there is a plan, and in the plan, the overall growth of the country in various sectors like food and agriculture, education, employment opportunities, and housing, roads and transport, social welfare activities. Well, these are all the various sectors for the development of the country. Along with them, health is also one sector. So we have many plans, 5-year plans. The last plan was from 2012 to 2017. We had a very good objectives driven by the earlier Health for All by 2000 and various objectives and targets from Millennium Development Goals, and afterward we have Sustained Development Goals. So these are all various programs which has prompted us to run this particular 12 5-year plan. But what happened was, new government took charge, and Bharatiya Janata Party new government came. So they have their own way of dealing things, and they have dropped this 5-year plan. They have implemented Niti Aayog. I told you, Niti Aayog is National Institution for Transforming India, with a broader objective. You see, they had 12 years of vision, 7 years of strategy, and 3 years of planning with agenda and documentation. Agenda and documentation. That means, you see, earlier we had 5 years plan. Usually it coincides with the election period also. So in the last year, since it was an electionary, so what are the things that were neglected during these 4 years, immediately try to implement or convert the program into social welfare services, and as a sort of pleasing people, they used to do something. But the present, the Niti Aayog, it has to be very promising, because it is only a 3 years plan. Still, there are about 2 years left over, where people will definitely demand the election agenda, which they have mentioned during their actions. You have failed in particular aspect, and there is maybe success in a few sectors, and people will have chance again to vote or not to vote for the particular government, and there is an accountability, which supposed to be a good plan. Let's wait and see. So now, we have the plan. Whether it is a 5 years plan or 3 years, we have plan. Plan is nothing but it is a blueprint. It is a blueprint with objectives. With objectives, then you have targets. This side you have a goal. This side you have an objective. You have targets. And now, what are the various health problems must be converted into a program. Program is nothing but a sequence of events that follow stepwise towards the objective or goal. That is what is called program. Now, before starting any health program nationally, we first of all we study the morbidity, mortality. We analyze in that particular geographical area what are the various problems, health problems, and then only immediately we form objectives and goals. After forming the objectives and goals, we will go for resources. What are the resources available with us? Resources are nothing but money, material, man. These three are called manpower. According to the manpower, we fix priorities. You see, when we started the planning way back, communicable diseases are the most problematic health problems. Number two, malnutrition. Again, cause for infant mortality, maternal mortality, and because of severe anemia in pregnant mothers, in children succumb to various infections. So these are all the priority problems then. So in priority, naturally we take the communicable diseases first because our investment is low for the communicable diseases and we'll have good results because it is only infectious disease we can easily control when compared to non-communicable diseases, because non-communicable diseases the insidious onset having a very long lag period, and the multifactorial cause, we do not know what is the real cause, unlike the communicable disease where there is a germ particularly. If we control that germ by antibiotics or some vaccines, we will be able to control them. Like that, this non-communicable disease, there is no single reason, the multifactorial origin, and it has got a very insidious onset. And suddenly, may have some effects, health effects, which lead to disability of the individual. Of course, when compared to non-communicable diseases, non-communicable diseases are less in number. So, we selected all communicable diseases, first of all, in priority. So, to a large extent, we were able to control those diseases. For instance, today, diarrhea, cholera, etc., because of our coordinated efforts with all the sectors, what we already talked to you about, rural water supply, nutrition, and then sanitation, safe disposal of human excreta. So there is no possibility of contaminating the water. On one side, we are purifying the water through the National Rural Supply Water Scheme, and on the other side, we are constructing toilets for safe disposal of human excreta. So there is no possibility for either food or water to get contaminated with this microorganism. So naturally, we will become control the communicable diseases much easier. So we have started. Then we had with the limited resources, we are able to control the communicable diseases. We also assessed our resources. As per the resources, we are on priority. We have dealt by fixing the priorities. In the priorities, actually, National Immunization Program is the number one priority because it can control. Once upon a time, it was about universal immunization program, 6 killer diseases. Now there are about 9 to 10 diseases to the National Immunization Schedule. So we have given topmost priority for immunization. Number 2, the institutional deliveries where you can control both maternal mortality and infant mortality. So we have given a lot of importance. Maternity and child health services. These 2 problems we have fixed as a priority. And by God's grace, with our relentless efforts, we were able to control and make some progress on we have formulated a beautiful plan with beautiful planning cycle, and time to time we have the targets and objectives. Targets and objectives. We have regular monitoring. Monitoring is definitely evaluation, because monitoring means day-to-day activity monitoring. For instance, you see, we have done, for instance, you take this National Immunization Program and also antenatal examination of antenatal mothers is very important, because at the earliest possible time we will identify the risk pregnancies and we will make a separate plan for them. And by a simple test, we will be able to know that my mother is anemic. If there is anemia, what extent, what is the grade of anemia, and how can we attend on antenatal mothers. By providing supplementary nutrition, by providing iron folic acid tablets. Regularly, in a week, there is a separate day for antenatal checkup. And there are about 2 days, usually Wednesday and Saturday, there are immunization schedule. Not only in the primary health center, but in various places, in sub-centers and outreach centers. So unless you have a correct monitoring system, that is, you see, we have paramedical staff. Among the paramedical staff, we have cutting-edge workers like ANMs, and then you have supervisors. Medical officer alone may not be able to tour the entire district and see how this program is going on, and monitoring is difficult for medical officer. So he depends upon the supervisors. There are supervisors. So they will be giving him advanced tour program, and sometimes surprise inspections also will be there. We will go to each PHC as per the fixed tour program. He will verify whether the ANM has gone there and conducting the immunization session. What is the attendance there? How many children are expected to be there? And to what extent the children have attended the immunization session? and what are the children left over. It depends upon the ANM's integrity or work integrity and sort of interest, diligence in implementing this program. She has a close rapport with the community. Definitely, they themselves will come into the center. That itself is a sort of feedback for us how she is working. So, for instance, the ANM, every 1,000 population, there will be around 170 eligible couples. She has to maintain that eligible couple register. So, if she identifies the number of eligible couples, what happens? She will be able to identify the antenatal mothers. Usually, in a time of 1 year, there will be about some 70, around 79, like that. This antenatal mothers will be there. That register has to be there. And the 11% of that particular 5,000 population will have children below 5 years. You can calculate there itself and see and immediately verify registers where there is proper number of target couples for that year among the 5,000 population is entered or not. If there are any defaults, if there is no sufficient number identified, means it is not that there are no antenatal mothers or target couples. You should not believe. She has left some more, some families she could not cover. So you have to ask her to go into the field again and verify. There will be some pockets, remote pockets. They are not available. And some people are migrant labor and then they will be going somewhere. And sometimes they will come back. So she has to make an inquiry, identify those families, and again enter them into the target couple register. From there, she will have antenatal mothers, she will have below 5 years children, because these two groups are highly essential to deliver the MCH services for supplementary nutrition, antenatal care, identify the high-risk pregnancies, for all these things. So, there shall be a close monitoring. If that monitoring is not there, you will not be able to reach the objectives. That's why this monitoring part is, to a large extent, is the responsibility of the supervisors, for which medical officer, of course, will always be there to guide the entire district. So, this is monitoring, and there is another step in the planning cycle, what is called evaluation. Usually, evaluation means at the planning time itself, we will have some objectives, isn't it? So, this evaluation, we will have some support from the director in the form of joint directors. They are also civil sectors. We have a number of programs, national health programs in the state, like tuberculosis control program, vector-borne disease control program, national family leprosy control program. There are so many. These are all various types of programs, where each program will have one joint director, particularly to study and guide various sections of the health sector to go in the correct way. What happens is, now and then they will be evaluating the services. Evaluating the service, nothing means they will have last year figures. What is the morbidity? What is the mortality? For instance, you see, what is the immunization coverage? They randomly try to assess the immunization coverage, and their figure is only maybe some 70% or 60% coverage. Like that, they will evaluate, and they also try to guide us. And sometimes the evaluation, most of the times, there is a third party, because we do not believe our own doctors, our own staff, our own joint directors in the health, in the state, because we don't know. All of them are hand in glove, because they are colleagues, they are friends, they are known to each other for a long time. So they may not be taking it serious, and it will be a good report. That's why we'll have National Family Health Survey, district household survey. These are third-party evaluation teams. So they will give the correct picture. As far as my experience is concerned, as I have already worked as DM in this one, never and ever the district household survey or National Family Health Survey given beyond 60% of the national relationship coverage. But from our department, we always give 90% coverage. Beautifully, there will be this video conference will be conducted by the Principal Secretary Health, Medical and Family Health. Collector will be sitting on the other side, DM will be sitting on the his side. And when the program is being reviewed by the Principal Secretary, we will be submitting the figures that we have covered 90%, 85%, 70%, like that. These are all basing on the figures, basing on the coverage given by our field staff. We believe them. We believe them. But ultimately, what happens is when third party comes into review point, our lab are exposed. Nothing. You see, it's not a hide and seek game. Because of the difficult terrain, there are so many problems for medical staff, also medical department also to cover. Some people have no faith, they will be going to private hospitals. See, those children, they may not be able to cover. They will not show their immunization card. Like that, here we have some problem. But slowly, we have to get over from those problems and monitoring and evaluation so that we will be making justice to our programs by reaching the objects in time and then reaching the goal. So now, we will see the health management. We have seen the planning and programming. We see the management. Management is nothing but the proper utilization of man, material, and then money. As I already told you, these three things are always shortage. Anywhere in the states or anywhere in the country, it will be definitely fall short as per our programs. So there are certain scientific techniques by which we will be able to manage things in a better way. For instance, they say that there are two methods, biological method and some quantitative methods. This behavioral sciences, biological behavioral sciences, if you have a good communication capability and you take the staff who are working in the periphery into your confidence, without any blocks in the communication, whatever you want to transmit to the field staff, it will go. They will be able to understand and they will be able to implement it. For instance, that is what is called personal management to some extent. Personal means all this trained staff. Sometimes the staff which we are already having in our department may not be able to catch up with the objectives or goals projected by the government. For instance, in 1970s, it was so happened. Then Madam Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. She went to Tamil Nadu just for inspection or something. She has got her own agenda. In a short span of time, without giving much time to the state, she has gone. And when she was touring the city, she has seen large number of people, large number of beggar-like people. And they are beggars actually, without fingers, without toes, disfiguration of the face, collapse of the nose, national bridge. That is peculiar. Only she might be reading in books that there is a disease called leprosy. And leprosy people look like this. This man might have a vague remembrance and vague concept about leprosy. But physically, she has seen on the roadside. In those days, what used to happen is all these leprosy patients, once in a month or once in a while, they all used to go on the streets like a big band crowd. They used to have very big tom-toms and singing about Lord Jesus or other lords, praying them and singing and music. They used to go on the road. So that was a particular way they used to get a lot of money from the people because a band is coming in. We cannot just have 1 rupee or half rupee. People who are sympathizers, they used to use 10 rupees, 5 rupees, like that. They used to get a lot of money. So such sort of bands, yes, she immediately got from meeting all the medical experts. I was surprised to see, is there any such people like that in our country? No. It's an aghast. I can no more see this particular site anymore. I don't know what you do, how much money you want, how many people you want. You take, buy at least 5 or 10 years. I should not see any such person on the road. That was the order given by Prime Minister. To be very frank, in those days, we could not control the leprosy people because there is no separate department in primary health centers exclusively to look after those leprosy patients. But you know, it is not a great thing to treat a leprosy patient. If you find a patient patch, numb patch, or hypopigmented patch, where there is no sensation, immediately you start treatment. Treatment is with the absent. It's very easy. The patient takes dapsone, probably in 3 or 4 months, immediately negative. Even then also, the conversion is not highly essential in a short period because it has, the communicability is very low in leprosy, as you all know. They start dapsone treatment, he will be like any other human after completion of the treatment. It's very easy. So even to pin down the patients, to confine to some particular wards or some particular place, and treat them because the reconstructive surgeries are there. So patients who need a sort of treatment, some missionaries, some sort of colonies, leprosy colonies, we construct and let them live in those colonies. The government will provide a free ration, etc. So that that ugly appearance we may not see, and simultaneously, if you start survey, they used to call SCT teams, survey, education, treatment. That was the first time they have started, for which the existing staff is not sufficient. You have to take somebody who is having some biology background, train them for about 6 months, and then exclusively use for these people, these trained persons, to visit each village and make survey, particularly in schools, in places of gathering, large number of people. So immediately we just undress the person and see wherever the patches are there. They themselves may be able to tell that there are patches, or because of the training, they were trained for about some 6 months or so. So with that knowledge, they will be able to easily identify the hypopigmented patches and immediately put on treatment. Dapsone, not only dapsone, there are also clofazimine and other rifampicin, other drugs also are there. They are excellent drugs. But the moment they start the treatment, within no time, all the patients converted to negative, and then treatment was excellent. Whatever the people already have this disfigurement, this ugly appearance, slowly they die. Next generation. So that's what today happened. We do not see any that sort of leprosy anywhere now. Because of this particular step taken by the government, this is what's called personal management. Not from the existing staff, it's not possible to reach your objective or goal as directed by the Prime Minister of the country. So immediately they used to train and given training for they were called non-medical assistants. Non-medical assistants. So with their help, they were able to immediately identify the cases, and today there is no problem. In fact, they have reached the elimination stage. So that is what is called personal management. Same thing we can apply for other diseases also. Today we have many communicable diseases which will improve the sanitation, safe disposal, and at the same time supply water to the market. Many diseases, cholera, gastroenteritis, typhoid, all these things are the water-borne diseases. But once you improve the sanitation and whatever the staff, today we have multi-purpose workers. Because if you reduce the population to a small number, only to 5,000 population, and that 5,000 population is the responsibility of an ANM or a multi-purpose worker to look after the communicable disease, to look after the non-communicable diseases, look after the member services, look after what are the welfare schemes given by the government in supplementary nutrition. These are all done. Be attended only with multi-purpose. The only thing is you will reduce the population number. Instead of 10,000, 20,000 are far away situated in the villages where they are very far away from the sub-center and primary health center. We are saying naturally it's not possible. Transport is difficult. They cannot go long distance. Even if they go also, they will be leaving the house and go to cultivation. They are not readily available. So she waits for something there and gets back. So the government has done a good thing to reduce the coverage of population, and for even 5,000 population. And in addition to that, we have on the community side one representative is the accredited social health activist. So this is what is called the personal management. Then at the same time, we have to train them capacity building. We have to train them in such a way they should be cleared of all their doubts. And very frequently the medical officer will be holding a meeting in at least fortnightly, every fortnightly. He'll be, of course, every month he will have a grand meeting. All the medical officers separate meeting, supervisors separate. And then other multi-purpose workers, ANMs, they will be trained by these trainers. Training of trainers. You see, where in district medical health officer is in so many sectors, so many directions in the state, which he will first of all let all the medical officers be aware of this direction of government and supervisors also. In turn, they will go to PHC and spread correct communication. See, nowadays, the immunization, so many changes have happened. There's pentavalent vaccine, polio, we have stopped the oral polio, and we are giving injectable vaccine, injectable vaccine for only one strain. Strain 2, we are giving, and then we have introduced rotavirus vaccine. So all these latest things that must definitely go to the ANM level, without any doubts. Nowadays, everything is available in the internet. People are so well educated. If you are not updating your knowledge, you will be thrown away from the department. You will not get any respect from the public or the So, because of that, we have to get the latest knowledge from the higher ups, and at the same time, communication system will be very good. Shall be communicated in proper way to the supervisors, field workers, service to the public, and whoever is representing ASHA from that particular community. And we should have good information system about various health problems. Unless and until you take the information regularly and analyze the information, you will not be able to know how the disease is spreading, what is its distribution in the geographical area, and by which you will be able to know which medical officer is doing his duty correctly and which PHC is, at fault. And some of the geographical areas where continuously information that people are suffering in the area. And there are about 2 social welfare hostels. Every time in both the social welfare hostels, children are suffering in diarrhea, vomiting, etc. So how do you get this information? Medical officers should get the first information, not the collector. You see, today because of this smartphone, what is happening is some people who are social activists, instead of phoning and informing the medical officers, will be directly phoning to some press people or to the district magistrate that this thing has happened. So many people suffer from diarrhea, no medical officer is seen here, no health staff has come. It gives a very bad picture. You see, it will be, it has to be experienced. It has to be, otherwise, we cannot just describe from the books. Working in rural areas, in a BSc, as a medical officer, as a staff, there is a lot of responsibility. So, fortunately, we had a very beautiful software, IDSP, Integrated Disease Surveillance Project, or program, Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. There is surveillance every day. There is surveillance every day. It is such a beautiful software program. I came to know that to develop that software, they took a lot of time, less than crores of rupees. The software is such a, it is complicated, it's okay. But as far as the field staff is concerned, they have to feed the information into the computer, that's all. They collect the information from the villages, they submit the information to the PHC, early computer. Early computer will feed everything into the farmer, supplied by the directorate. And on that same day, medical officer, at the end of the day, at the end of the evening time, he will be assisted by data entry operators, other administrative officers. They will just on the computer. What is the problem today? What IDSP is speaking? Because there will be specifically one epidemiologist will be there, district epidemiologist. So he will be, his entire work is working with the computer software and identifying those areas where a particular disease is being reported more than the expected normal. So immediately, if the situation is there, you will come and apprise the DMH. So immediately, the required action will be taken by the DMH. By the time collector phones, first if there is a problem, the collector will phone to DMH. It's like a hotline. This is the problem. Yes, sir, I have already knew. Our staff has informed. I have sent my epidemiologist there. He is already on the job. These are the cases. There are no deaths. This is the cause for the contamination of the food. So I will submit. I am submitting the preliminary report within a few minutes. Just half an hour I will be able to submit. Then what happens is first people cannot play with us. First people cannot play with us because we already know the information. The collector knows. Where the question of playing with the health department, previously people used to do that. So of course, I don't say that it's a very happy incident because DMHO should always stand on the tips of the toes because of this particular software. He doesn't know where from this information comes. There will be red alerts that will also be managed by the epidemiologist. Immediately come to the DMHO, immediately take the medical officer into confidence, alert all the supervisors, alert all the staff members. Immediately they should go to the field. That's all. They shall be there. By the press people visit that place, already our staff should be there. Doing some work, taking information, distributing some anti-diarrhea tablets or paracetamol, whatever is first aid. Immediately they should start. There is somebody suffering dehydration, immediately intravenous saline. So such work they should do. Then nobody can find fault with us. And that is another great administrative skill, management skill. What we call management health. That's what we are learning now. In India, health planning in India, health management in India, health planning in the district, health management in the district, health planning in the PHC, health management. You'll be surprised to know there is a program implementation plan for all this health management program. They are preparing final health planning of the country basing on the program implementation plan from the district. So the doctors and staff are so well trained to identify the problems, to analyze the problem. Just now I have talked to you. Analyze the problems, morbidity and mortality. Basing on that, what are the priorities for that particular area, the particular PHC area, or for the particular region? So they will start submitting that information. Basing on the information, you will have program implementation plan in the district, and every district send the plan. After submitting a copy to Jilla Parishad, because that is the local self-government, and it should know what is happening in the district. It depends on the people. Because of the democracy, we cannot just work independently. What we are doing must be known to the local self-government. So we can submit a copy to it, and then one copy to the director. So director, of course, at their level, they will be consultants. They will prepare the ultimate plan. And central level, they will take their own action. Because health is both central subject and state subject now. State does whatever it can do for the implementation of the plan. And center, as far as most of the times for allocation of the funds. Because state government will not have sufficient funds for spending on the health, since National Family Welfare Program is there in the concurrent list, union list, and they will allot funds. You must be knowing, once upon a time, the allocation of funds are only just less than 1%. People used to criticize. Now, of course, when we were students, I was working in early ages. Even our doctors, when conducting some IMA meetings, etc. What is the GDP government is right now spending? It is less than 1%. See, when countries like US and Europe spending something like 18% of their GDP, we are not able to spend less than even 1%. Less than 1%. So that shows the government, commitment of the government. The moment you allocate good funds, that means that particular country is having concern about that particular subject. So now, after this Niti Aayog new government, what they are saying, we will be ensuring all below poverty line families. We shall see that they should not make any out-of-pocket expenses. They should not become poor. Because of the disease, there shall not be any poverty. The family should not become bankrupt by selling their house, pledging their house, and pledging their whatever the little agricultural land they have to attend to treat this family member. So for which they said, the present government is saying that Ayushman will introduce Ayushman Card, National Family Protection Scheme. We will provide 5 lakh rupees for each below poverty line family. They can utilize the amount for whoever in their family members get any sort of ailment. Either they can get treatment, free treatment in government hospital. If those facilities are not available, but they are available in corporate hospital, yes, they should refer. These facilities not available in our hospital. These are available in so private corporate hospital. So they can refer. And government doctor from the government hospital refers the patient to corporate hospital. It is the responsibility of the government, so that there is no necessity for the family to spend out of pocket and become poor. So for which now the government is saying that out of GDP, they are going to the election as to allot more than 2.5%. Do you know what is the amount? 2.5 lakhs of crores. Lakhs of crores GDP. And it is also very fine that they are saying that we will spend this amount, more than half the amount, only for primary health care. Primary health care. You see, when you come to the non-communicable diseases, there is no point in spending money after already person has suffered from cerebrovascular accident or cardiovascular accident, who is bedridden, then make some bypass operation, do this, that. By that time, hemiplegia will be there. By then, there will be stent or bypass operation is activities limited. He is alive. No problem. He is not fruitful. He is not productive to the family or to the country or to the society. So that is the problem. What we should do is we should spend a lot of amount on primary health care. Last time also I told you that if you spend some amount of sizable amount of money on risk factors, identification of risk factors and treatment. So that is a good way of management and that is a good way of planning. So after this planning cycle, management, the last part is evaluation. Evaluation, as I said, we will have some objectives. In the planning cycle, we have already told that we will have a goal, health for all. We have objectives. What are the objectives? To reduce infant mortality, maternal mortality, to reduce all communicable diseases. Immediately it is not possible, but you give a targets every 2 years, 3 years, depending upon the situation. one target here. After 2 years, another target. After 2 years, another target. And finally, the object, we should reach the object. If suppose, for instance, we are not reached the object, it happened. What was our objective? To reduce the infant mortality very low. In a single digit, just like any developed country. We could not reach, but we made a commendable result, commendable advantage, commendable results on this particular front. We could reduce the infant mortality now. Today, if you see, once upon a time, way back in 1977, the infant mortality was more than 160, like that. Now today, slowly we are coming towards 30. Cannot be single digit. Is it not an achievement? Number one achievement. Fantastic achievement. You cannot say that some of the sectors like agriculture, you see, agriculture is so much improved. Today we are getting a sort of growth rate in agriculture. You may say that 2%, 3%, like that. But when you come to health department, you may not be able to show the growth rate in the shape of money. In the shape of money, yes, it is not possible. It is not possible. Like other sectors, industries, you see, industrial sector, we have growth rate double digit. Some of the chief ministers used to show that we have got double digit in the country. Country is a bit backward when compared to us, isn't it? So this health department, you can show only the death rate is reduced, the disability rate is reduced. We have done so many operations. They have saved so many lives. Can you compare a life with money? One person is survived because only because of the professional work of doctors and paramedical staff. Tell me what you equate with that. How many millions you can equate with that? It's not possible. That part is called evaluation. Evaluation of health services. So evaluation of health services, first of all, we will have some criteria, structure criteria, process criteria, and then outcome criteria, like that. For instance, if you take the health infrastructure, you have to have a subcenter, a PHC, a community health center, and a district health center. And then as far as the criteria concerned, the PHC should have this structure. What is that structure? It shall have a delivery room with a privacy for the woman. It should have a baby partner. It should have a radiant partner. And then you should have a dispensing place, a pharmacist, and then a technician. You must be able to examine at least 100 slides a day. This many photo smears he has to examine. This many blood smears he has to examine. This many cases must be explained with hemoglobin. So these are all the criteria, structure criteria and process criteria. Process criteria is nothing but how they are serving. There was some counting now. Otherwise, throughout the day they are sitting and going to the house. No, it's not like that. By the evening, this many patients must reach the PHC. Out of this many number must be photo smears. This many number for blood smears of malaria vaccine. This many children in antenatal mothers must be adolescents for estimation of hemoglobin. So all these things, these are process criteria. So according to this criteria, what we do is we will evaluate. So in this particular evaluation, always higher officials than the district. Just now I told you that all the joint directors of various departments, they should evaluate. So sometimes the approachability of the particular health facility, accessibility, people should be satisfied. People should enjoy the facilities. There is no point in you every time saying in a meeting, in a public meeting, or meeting conducted by the director of health, or meeting conducted by the health minister, saying that I have our district achieved this, we have done this thing, we have done that. Of course, I don't say they are not correct, but actual satisfaction must come from the public. If you go and ask somebody who says that our PHC is about 14 kilometers from our habitation, and we are not able to reach that PHC for 11 or so when we start early morning. By the time we go, they say that medical officer has gone for tour, and then there is nobody to talk to us conducting OPA. There is only a pharmacist. We say something and she has given something. We are not satisfied of the treatment. They have gone to a private hospital. So there is no satisfaction. It shall be accessible. It shall be accepted. It must be effective. People must feel that they are benefited by visiting the health center. Otherwise, all the time you making your trumpet blowing, there is no use. This must be supported by the satisfaction of the public. This is what is evaluation. That's why we do not depend upon our own people. There is only a third party. That's why third party came. District family survey, national family survey, totally unbiased. What are the information we get from them? Good. So today we are saying that supplementary nutrition is going on very well. Of course, we are not seeing any protein energy malnutrition. Frank protein energy malnutrition cases like marasmus and kwashiorkor, we are not seeing. Okay. But there are other deficiencies. Micro, this zinc, then iron, folic acid, micronutrients. These are all called micronutrients. Their deficiency is there. Their deficiency is still there. That's why today we are not able to control anemia. This has become a very big problem today. Mothers are dying, children are dying, children are born with prematurity, low birth weight. What is the reason? Anemia. Mother is facing postpartum hemorrhage. What is the mean? What is the cause? Extreme anemia. In spite of the iron folic acid tablets, we did not improve our iron hemoglobin status. So there is big postpartum hemorrhage, and then mother died. Of course, we are taking so many precautions now. Such cases we are sending to the district hospital or teaching hospital, where always blood will be available. We are keeping ready 2 or 3 pints while mother is being delivered. Simultaneously, we are also running blood transfusion, so that risk is minimized to some extent. And then the infant mortality and maternal mortality are slowly improving and coming down. So these are the most important components of evaluation. So we have plan, we have management, we have evaluation. You see, this particular health planning in India, maybe any nation, is a very tough subject. And it is not easy for, not like a story you can remember. There are so many technical words. It may not be very important at undergraduate level, but definitely you will be getting short questions or in Viva you have to answer. And above all this, if you have this concept of health management, your perspective of the entire medical field will improve like anything. What are the various national programs? What are the various diseases? It is on my fingertips. I'm very confident because I know what is management. I work in that field. That confidence I have. I can speak to anyone. I can answer any question. How I got this? Because I work in that field, I have reviewed a lot of literature. I have personally participated in some of the evaluation programs. And now today, I got good knowledge of health planning in India. Like that, if you also try, you have heard for the last 3 classes, of course, another class is also there. If you carefully hear my class and then refer the textbook immediately, so that what happens, all these technical terms are there. I made it easy for you to understand. Otherwise, the planning cycle and then various these technical terms, committees, evaluation, planning criteria, physical criteria. There are so many things which honestly bother you. Now I think it should not bother you because to a large extent I have covered all those topics. So this is the health planning in India, in short. There are so many things yet we can speak about it, but to the extent you had in all these 3 classes will be sufficient. We have another class, a final class. I think in the final class, we also will have some sort of interaction. I think time is also over. Okay, we will meet in the next class.
Running in cycle,